When it comes to Mario's foes, you'd think of most of them as relatively unintelligent, being easily defeated or just easily avoided in your pursuit of rescuing the princess and freeing everything in the Mushroom Kingdom from the clutches of the evil King Bowser. However, not all of these enemies are so brainless, and on your adventures you will encounter a few that definitely are outliers, leading me to get the idea to create today's video. Specifically looking at the smartest ones that you can come across in terms of skills, and even in terms of looks. And oh yeah, before we get started, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet, then please subscribe to my channel, hitting that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. The first game to be released in the franchise is Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985, where there's 3 enemies that can be seen as intelligent in this entry, starting with the Quid-like bloopers. These are found only in the game's underwater stages, World 2-2 and World 7-2, as well as one specific section in the final stage of World 8-4, swimming super erratically almost always in your way, which gets extremely annoying. No other baddie in this game will pursue you so relentlessly like these ones, leading to many deaths because of their unpredictable movements and tough environment, making me believe there's some sort of smartness behind those beady eyes. One foe that comes in a close second in this category are the Hammer Bros, mainly due to the fact of how well equipped they are, plus the fact that they always appear in pairs, which is very clever. The Hammer Bros hammers are very deadly, as they are attacks that are hard to avoid, needing to have perfect timing to get around them, or kill them if you're actually that skilled. Finally, I need to mention the Lakitu due to its interesting features that really hinder you, where it throws spinies at you while following you, all while for the protection of a cloud. Obviously it's intelligent if it's scared of the repercussions of coming after you, but then again, no smart being would want to fight a homicidal plumber lost in a fantasy world, so, they're not that smart. The Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2 came out for the NES in 1988, having a few relatively intelligent enemies I think I should mention, starting with the Phantos. These seemingly possessed masks will chase you all over the screen if you steal the keys they're guarding, with them trying to run into you to damage you and eventually kill you. The fact that these things are able to come to life and follow you until you leave show that they're at least perceptive, and also show they either have brains or something controlling them does. Another enemy that endlessly chases you until you leave or until they're defeated are the dark blue colored Ninja, moving relatively quickly while jumping, which makes them tough to come across. I'm honestly not sure what type of creature this is supposed to be, but it is sort of humanoid-like, so I'm guessing it's smarter than most. Also, there's one more baddie that will chase you with no regard in the Flurries, who are snowman-like beings that patrol the icy platforms of World 4. These are at least smart enough to travel in groups, trying to come after you, so I at least have to mention them in this video, even if they're kinda tame. The final of the original trilogy is Super Mario Bros. 3 that came out in North America on the NES in 1991, having a few enemies that could fit this category, but the ones that stick out to me the most are the fish in the Big Berthas and Big Bass. Both of these are gigantic Cheep Cheeps, with the former having baby Cheeps in its mouth that it will release from time to time to try to attack you more efficiently. I get that it's sort of sacrificing its children to attack you, which is pretty morbid, but it shows their smarts in using them as a weapon at least, so there's that. The latter have no children, and instead try to swallow you whole, which results in an instant death if it does happen, which at times is actually hard to avoid. These are most irritating during the levels where the water rises and lowers, where you easily can get stuck if you're not careful, where you will die. Other foes that sort of fit this category that I quickly want to give a nod to include the Missile Bills, who will actually turn around in mid-air to track Mario, the Boo Diddley, who are just boos who make their first appearance in this game, the Angry Sun that leaves its position in the sky to swoop down trying to burn you, and the Bloober with kids, who releases its children in a similar way to the Big Bertha. The very first handheld game in this series is Super Mario Land that came out for the Game Boy in 1989, having 3 enemies that I guess you could say are kinda smart, beginning with the Mechabon. When you come near this robot, its head detaches from its body and attacks you with it as if it was a boomerang, where it can be defeated if you jump on it twice, or with the help of a Super Ball Flower power-up. Another robot-like creature that I want to showcase are the airplane-like Rokaton that are found in the final level of the game, most likely created by the alien boss Totanga. These foes fire bullets behind them as they pass by Mario, trying to damage you, being only defeated if you hit them with your own missile yourself. Finally, I'd have to say that the Pyompi must be pretty smart, appearing to be sort of like a Djinn/genie creature that's super hard to kill. On top of all this, they hop towards you, trying to attack you. Although they do sort of throw themselves down pits, although I won't blame them because this is a pretty rudimentary system in games, so I'm sure that's the reason. Up next is the Dinosaur Land-based Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Where to start, I want to look at every type of charging chucks, and even though they all probably suffer from CTE, they still act pretty different from most other enemies as they pursue you relentlessly and are hard to kill. The forms they come in are the regular lookout that just charges at you, the confused ones that, again, must have been bonked on their heads as they're for some reason playing baseball instead of football, the passing ones that pulls out a football and kicks it at you, the clappin' that claps every time that you jump, the splittin' that splits into 3 separate chucks, and the diggin' ones that for some reason digs up rocks that they chuck towards you. The other enemy I should mention that's probably one of the smartest Mario foes in this video are the Magic Koopa, aka Kamek, where they use magic to their advantage to try and kill you. One of these moves is a teleport, meaning they can be tricky to defeat if you aren't well equipped, and the other are Magic Blasts, that transforms rotating blocks into various enemies, creating dangerous situations. The follow-up to Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2: The 6 Golden Coins, came out for the Game Boy in 1992, having really only 2 bad guys I want to talk about, kicking things off with the Collector. This is a witch-like minion found in the final level of the Macro Zone that steals the 1-up hearts out of the question mark blocks that you trigger. You then have to chase these pesky things down just to get your prize, reminding me a lot of an early version of the character Nabbit from New Super Mario Bros. U. Even though it is an insect, the BBs found in the tree zone are pretty smart as they endlessly follow you until they either die or you kill them. I get that aggressiveness could be construed as stupidness, but in terms of enemy design and function, this one is pretty well done. Honestly, I had trouble coming up with any others from this title, so if I did miss one, then please let me know in the comments below. There are so many enemies to choose from in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island for the SNES, so I'm just going to quickly list the most notable ones and what exactly they do to be considered intelligent. There's the 3 different monkeys in the normal grinders, the short fuse that drop bombs below themselves, and the Seedy Sallies that drop needle noses instead. There are 3 different types of Lakitu in the underwater dwelling ones, the sky dwelling thunder ones, and the wall dwelling wall ones. There's the green gloves that catches eggs thrown at them by Yoshi, who then throw them back in anger. There's the slugger, who bats back eggs thrown by Yoshi. There's the grunts, who are kid-like foes that at least are bright enough to wear helmets. There's the Reloi Hiho, who pass bombs between each other, dropping it when you're underneath them. And finally, there's the Zeus guy, who can attack you with balls of energy blast from afar, but when you get near, it isn't afraid to throw hands and feet instead. The first game to come out, all based within the 3D realm, is Super Mario 64 for the N64, having 3 enemies I'd say are pretty sharp-witted, with the first being the Monty Moles. These just don't stand stationary for you like idiots, leaving them open for attacks, where instead they move relatively quickly between the large selection of holes they've made, popping up from time to time to throw rocks and hurt you. They also usually appear in groups, like in this part of Tall Tall Mountain, where if you kill 8 of them in a row, you'll get a 1-up as your prize, which is easier said than done. Next are 2 foes that can send you flying through the air if you aren't careful in the Chuckyas and Heave-Hos, both primarily found on the ledges of the Wet Dry World. I think both of these are meant to be mechanical creatures, meaning they were created by someone or something else, but there's definitely some level of intelligence behind them as they seek you out and try to damage you in a way that other enemies don't. Finally, I want to look at two enemies that don't straight up attack you, but actually do something that will really get on your nerves in the Klepto and in the Monkeys, where if you aren't careful around them, they'll actually both steal your hat. The fact that they do this and don't just blindly attack you shows some sort of smarts. Although annoying Mario isn't exactly the best thing you can do, as he's definitely one to try and get revenge. The next game to come out also in the 3D realm is Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube. Also having a foe that wants to steal your hat in the Swiping Stew. These fat blob humanoid things take Mario's hat if you come near them. Now, the Stews do this as they know the intense rays from the sun will hurt Mario without that extra layer of protection, where he will take damage from its intensity and eventually die. So it's at least smart enough to know that this is a thing and not attack you and you know what I mean. I guess the only other foes I sort of could mention are the strange cataquacks of Gelato Beach that had the objective of trying to chase after you and fling Mario way up in the air, basically stunning you for a brief period of time. They cannot be defeated normally by Mario and travel in a horde, so avoiding them is super tough. Nintendo would eventually return the series to its 2D roots with the release of New Super Mario Bros. For the DS, having three standouts that I want to show off, starting with the Bruisers that can be found in World 5C and in the Ghost House of World 5. Now, I think these are just beings that are disguising themselves as ghosts, as they're clearly wearing a sheet over themselves and aren't transparent / floating like regular boos. Also, they pack quite a punch, being able to break bricks in front of them, opening up otherwise inaccessible areas. It seems like this really could just be Little Mac under there, but this is never confirmed, or denied honestly, so just my own theory I'm running with, in my crazy mind, you don't have to believe me. Next, I want to look at the Snow Spike, which is the winterized version of the spikes who throw snowballs at you in World 5-1. These creatures are ready for the cold weather as they put on gloves, a really comfy looking hat, and goggles, showing that they are self-aware and willing to prepare themselves for the conditions. The third and final I want to look at from this entry is the Spike Bass, which is a deadlier version of the Big Bertha that we looked at earlier, only because it has a thorny exterior that can hurt you if you touch it. Also, these don't try to eat you, but still follow you around and even jump out of the water to try and hurt you, so they're similar in that way, but different in other ways. Next up is the Space Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii. They came out for the system in 2007, where I'd have to say the tracks are quite smart as they somehow evolve to be invisible. This happens when you're in active pursuit of them, where you can only see their footsteps, needing to spin to reveal their true form, which also stuns it for a brief period. Here, if you then jump on them, they will expel 20 star bits, which is a good prize, but not something that amazing. Hard to say if there really are any other foes that deserve to be shown off. Maybe the Bone Fins or Spring Topmen, but again, those are robots made by someone else, so I can't really put them definitively in their own spot. Although if you do have any suggestions, then please let me know in the comments. I really couldn't find a new enemy from New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii that I haven't already talked about, so I just want to quickly look at a feature that's associated with the Scaredy Rats, as they've learned to work together to survive Mario and friends' attacks. When you come near and stomp one, the rest will run away in fear and don't stop until they find another rat that's already calm, showing they understand how to survive in the harsh environments of the Mushroom Kingdom. Nothing too crazy, but most others in this entry are quite dumb, except maybe the prickly Goombas who put themselves in a natural suit of armor, although it's still a Goomba, so they can't be too apt at the end of the day. In the second Super Mario Galaxy that also came out for the Wii but here in 2010, there's one bad guy that seems very smart in the Cosmic Clone. A sort of ooze that shapes itself after your appearance while also mimicking your every move in the stages they're found in. These things will only disappear if they damage you or if you collect the mission star, making them pretty formidable beings that you need to tread lightly around or else you will die. Nintendo would end up blending aspects from the series' 2D and 3D realms when they created Super Mario 3D Land for the Switch, having a couple smart enemies we're gonna look at, starting with the Wallops. These stone-like creatures are definitely related to the Thwomps, but are way less dull, with their main purpose being to annoy you as much as humanly, or I guess stonily possible, trying to block your path by mirroring your every movement. They can be tricked if you do things like jumping a lot or ground pounding, but when you first come across them, you have no idea what to do, and you get utterly frustrated. Also, I want to showcase the inky piranha plants, as they sort of break the fourth wall and obscures the player's screen when they attack. Covering it in black ink, that is an unexpected move. You need to blow this ink away using your breath and the system's microphone, with it almost transcending realities with this attack, which is really cool and kind of smart for a plant. The final installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii U in 2012, where really the only foes from it I'd say that are intelligent are the Dragon Eels, found only in the Dragon Eels Undersea Grotto stage. These mythical creatures attack the player in this underwater setting by chasing them. Although, because they're so slow and so big, you can dodge them, although you don't have that much room to do so. They are also nearly indestructible, only being able to be defeated by a superstar, as a fireball attack will only hold them back for a few seconds. Next up is Super Mario 3D World that first came out for the Wii U, then was later remastered for the Switch. Having two enemies I wouldn't exactly call geniuses, but they are at least smarter than the others, beginning with the Block Steppers. These sentient hat-wearing blocks march in formation in their attempt to attack you, but scatter in fear if one of their members is defeated, showing that not only can they organize, but they're also at least aware when they have to call it quits. The other I'm going to put here are the Splorches, that are found in the lava stages that want to chase you down and burn you to death. These things look almost evil, as if they're constantly plotting against you. Although, they can't do much as they don't have hands or feet, so they're sort of locked in on the only thing they can do, which is roll towards you. In the absolutely massive Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch, I'd have to say one foe that not only acts smart but also looks smart is the Astro Lancer. These are the space versions of the Mollusk Lancer found in the Seaside Kingdom, looking like some sort of steampunk evil genius, firing spikes from their mouths in an attempt to hurt you. Octopi are meant to be smarter animals, so it makes sense that this creature would be too. Plus, you can't capture it, so it must be more strong-willed than the others. Another foe you also can't capture that seems very aware are the Trapeetles, found in the Lost Kingdom, having the ability to steal Cappy and send it back to you like some sort of weapon. If you dodge their return attacks, then you can use that to destroy unbreakable blocks, uncovering secrets that you otherwise would not be able to get to. Moving on now to Bowser's Fury, which is a game mode added alongside the re-release of Super Mario 3D World for the Switch, where the one enemy that comes to mind in being very smart is the Fury Shadow. This is a fake goopy Luigi who steals cat shines in certain areas and plays keep away, with you needing to hit them 3 times to defeat them. I am a bit confused if that means the goop itself is intelligent, as in Super Mario Sunshine the Shadow turned out to be Bowser Jr., but here he's helping you, meaning that it must be something else. The final of this video, and newest to come out in the franchise, is Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch, having 3 enemies I want to look at, starting off with the Lakitu Trio, found in the background as the main deterrent in the Shining Falls special triple threat Deluge. In this stage, the Wonder effect has you traversing in the top-down perspective, where you need to make it to the end, avoiding what the trio throws at you. You can't defeat them as they're way off in the distance, which is a smart thing to do when you're trying to face off against Mario. Next, I want to mention the cool Seeker Bullet Bills, who use their suction cups on their bodies to stick to walls, meaning they don't just continuously fly through the air. There's also the bigger versions that have a much larger damage radius, also looking a lot angrier, so I'd probably avoid those. Lastly, I just need to note the Skedaddlers, as they might be one of the smartest foes in terms of survivability, as they always run away from Mario, trying to get enough distance to use their acorn attack. They really do look afraid, which is justified, as at this point Mario must have killed thousands of creatures, and word probably spread around, and the smart ones took that as a sign to stay away. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to my channel. Also, if you haven't noticed, I upload daily shorts, so go look at those and give them a like, and you'll probably see something there that you didn't know about. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!